Hey, what's going on? How's everyone doing today? So, I thought I'd hop on here for a little while for a midweek stream. Well, midway between interviews. It's sort of the beginning of the week for those of you that have jobs. And it's probably also the middle of the day for a bunch of you. So, if anybody has snuck in here in the middle of work, props to you for that. Thank you. And hopefully, I've caught some Europeans after they got off of work before they went to bed. That's sort of the plan with my timing here today. I didn't want to wait until too late. I get tired in the afternoon. I feel like an old man. Um, but yeah, so I figured out how to do this nifty little rig up today with my second camera, that I can really show off some books here and some other physical releases. Oh, that thing's backward again. So, well, maybe it's not over here on the other one. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, I'm good on this screen. Yeah, so as you can see, I've got it set up so I can go through some books with you guys today, and also some various different physical releases. Uh, Cheers from Europe. Awesome. The Scrage. The Scrage. The Scrage. Not sure which one it is. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you all for stopping by. Anybody else that wants to hop in the chat, that'd be cool. No interview today, obviously. This is not technically a review stream, and also not technically an interview stream. Not an interview stream at all. I just got, hey, what's up, Bouscatier? I just, over the last 2 weeks or so, I got a lot of cool stuff in here. And now that I'm more or less set up in my new abode, staying here at my mom's house now, I still have my bed and one of my bookshelves that I need to get from my brother's apartment, which I'm going to be picking up on Thursday, but I'm more or less in order here. You can see over right there behind me, that's my air mattress that's leaning up against the wall right now because it's like humongous, and when I have it laid out to sleep on, it takes up like half of the room. So I lean that thing up against the wall as soon as I wake up in the morning, and soon I will have my small bed again that doesn't take up half the room, and I'll be very pleased to have that. It's a twin XL. I didn't know they made those. It's like fucking 7 foot long for my tall ass, but it's like real skinny because I'm also skinny, so perfect. I'm sorry, just rambling here a little bit to get things going today, but kind of waiting for a couple more people to join maybe, but also just kind of rambling to get this started. It's going to be a chill stream today, as I said. I am more just showing off some interesting things that I'm going to be covering in more detail in the coming weeks and months to some extent, because I have a lot of books that we're going to be looking at today, and when you're talking about like esoterica, it's not exactly like I'm just sitting here reading fiction that I just blast through the pages and can knock out like a 200-page fiction book I could knock out in like probably 2 days. But a 200-page occult book is taking me like a month because I am learning so much as I go, and thinking things through and going back and rereading different sections and rereading previous books and watching YouTube videos and looking up like various different concepts. Some things, well, it's all fun and interesting, but some of it is very complicated. So yeah. Um, I move slowly through these, but I highly recommend all of this stuff that I'm going to be talking about today, at least so far as I know at this point. The things I can recommend, I will, and the things that I haven't read yet, I can only show you the physical editions, and you can make that judgment for yourself until the time that I can give it a proper review. Cool. So, are any of you guys familiar with Anathema Publishing? Or Anathema Publishing, depending on how you pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I know in American English we definitely say the word anathema, but maybe in Europe and other places people pronounce it differently, which is fine. I say everything wrong, so it's nice to have two different pronunciations that are both correct. So Anathema has more or less been around since like 2011, I think. Um, and they have really, as far as I can tell, they've really picked up steam over the last, say, 4 years or so. It seems like from like sometime around 2017 moving forward, they really started to put out a lot more content. This Crage says, I just discovered them lately, ordered a few books from them, still waiting for the shipment. The books look amazing quality. Awesome. Which books did you get? We'll see. You might get a preview of those books here today. Also, yeah, tell me which books you got, and also, how did you find out about them? Are you a fan of Foolish Fish on YouTube by chance? Foolish Fish was where I first saw the books, but my friend Pierre, Kammerheit, was giving me he was like he was basically, I was saying I was looking for some interesting new books to buy that were like nice quality occult books that I just wanted to kind of check out some different topics, really, like not, nothing in particularly specific. And he's like, yeah, you should really check out this company because as far as I can tell, like every single thing that they publish is of the highest quality. And so he mentioned that like probably a year ago. And then I said again, like a couple months ago, like, oh, I'm trying to get some books. And again, he's like, you should check out Anathema. And I was like, oh, yeah, I should do that. So I went ahead and picked up this first one that I have here in front of me, Entering the Desert, Pilgrimage into the Hinterlands of the Soul by Craig Williams. And, oh, you also stumbled upon them on Foolish Fish. It took you a few weeks and you're already hooked. Yes. Yeah, Foolish Fish is awesome. I love that guy's channel. Highly recommended. I would love to have a conversation with him one day. I'd really like to get Foolish Fish on here to do an interview. I gotta figure out how to get in contact with him. I haven't really tried yet, but I feel like he would be interested in doing that. So that could probably be really cool because I feel like he's sort of the book guy that does like things that are so similar to what I do with music. And now that I'm also getting into the books, I really am sort of using him as a template. Dare I say I'm copying him? But, I mention him often on the channel, so it's all good. But yeah, if you guys are into these kinds of books, or just books in general, Foolish Fish is a fantastic YouTube channel to learn the intricacies of these things. Yeah, so I started out with Entering the Desert, and then I wanted to get some more books, so I have a nice little handful of them here now that I am only about, well, I'm almost finished The Cult of Golgotha, which is also by Craig Williams. These are both reissues in the soft cover. Usually the way that Anathema does it is they come out with several editions of a hardcover. They do like a collector's edition and a standard edition that are both hardcover, and then sometimes there's even one or two more editions that are like even more sort of not elite, but like just like more beautiful and more expensive, and just generally, like a deluxe edition that's above the collector's edition or something to that extent. Sometimes only just several copies of certain editions that are just absolutely phenomenal copies. So they usually do that like all at once, like anywhere from like 2 to 4 hardcover editions, and then generally like 2 to 3 years later, they will release the paperback edition. Now, I guess not necessarily of all of their books, but at least the best-selling ones. But as I said, it seems from my research that they have really been picking up steam since 2017, and most of these books that are in paperback now are from around 2017. So I guess maybe they'll just re-release everything in paperback. We will have to wait and see, but it seems like we're still at the beginning of that. Cool. Okay, the Scrage, you said you got Rod and Ring, The Dancing Sorcerer, Fountain of Wisdom, Wolf's Head, The Abyss, The Key of Zev, Ben Avram, and rest in peace to your money. Yeah, yeah, dude, yeah. You just spent a nice chunk of money on those books, I guarantee it. So I have 1, 2, 3 of those 5 that you just mentioned there, that I will, or yeah, or you 6 that you mentioned. Anyways, I have 3 of those that I will show you today. I have the standard edition of all 3 of those. So if you have the collector's edition, that's awesome. And I'll be showing the collector's edition of some of these. The Rod and Ring collector's edition is just insane looking. Like, I have seen few books that are as beautiful as the collector's edition of Rod and Ring. That thing is something else. So, did you get the standard or collector's of that one? I really can't wait to get started reading that, but I'm reading all of Craig Williams' books first because they all sort of work off of each other. Oh, nice, man. That's a beauty. I yeah. That's a hell of a book. I haven't actually seen it physically, but from looking at the different reviews of it that people have done online, and pictures that people have shared on Instagram, and then just all of the promo pics directly from Anathema, it's incredible. It really is. So, cool. Well, that's cool. I got at least one of you guys here that knows what's up, and the rest of you guys are gonna find out. And I'm going to put this up in case any of you guys end up having to leave, and for other people that are coming along the way. Oh, I thought you were an actual person, not a bot. I don't want a bot. Anyways. I'm going to probably put this up on YouTube, like, I'll start uploading it like pretty much as soon as I get done today, so that people can see this video relatively quickly, because I want to get this one around, because, well, I'll go ahead and say now, I am going to be interviewing this coming Saturday Gabriel McCaughry from he's basically the sole employee of Anathema Publishing. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and do this stream earlier in the week, that I can kind of get everybody that follows This Is Darkness familiar with Anathema before he comes on this Saturday. I figured that would probably be a smart thing to do. So I will introduce you guys to a bunch of their latest releases, and then this weekend you can meet the man behind all of this beautiful whatever, just artwork. Honestly, it's book art. Art in the form of books. Cool. So let's hop over here to my other view. All right, so as I said, I have the paperback edition here. So it appears that the inside is identical. I haven't noticed any differences between the paperbacks and the hardcovers as far as the information included within the books. but as you see right off the jump, really awesome looking cover art. And I'll just go ahead and say here, like, all of the, so I mean, from, I'm learning, but it appears that this cover art, all of the artwork within these books are really, it's not, it's a, it's a collaboration between the artist and the author, meaning like these this artwork really does signify things that are happening within the text of the books. So it's not just like, oh, here's a theme and somebody's like just like writing up some cool drawings or paintings or whatever it may be in relation to that, but it's really like it's really involved. So I can say, like, from what I can tell, this cover image here is related to, let me find it here. When we get back here to the back of the book, there's basically a grimoire back here, the Desert Grimoire. And the first sort of ritual within this grimoire, the Priests of Night, the description of how this is done ends up having you sitting in a triangle that seems to signify identically, like this cover art is directly illustrative of the first ritual in the Desert Grimoire in the back of the book. So just as a for instance. And then I don't have my notes with me. I should I'll do this. As I said, this is I can't turn this into a review. I'm gonna want to turn this into a review because I'm getting so close to that point with these first two books that I'm gonna be talking about here. But yeah, a lot of these images seem to be directly related to things that are happening. So I'll just kind of flip through a little bit of this here. Many of the books from what I've seen so far just have these like little sections here where it's just like quotes with a drawing or a painting different. See, here's another one here. Hidden and concealed within the corporeal shell, commingling of fire and blood, bone and ash, the fire which burns the unworthy and sanctifies the fearless, shines in timeless glory. The solitary one stands as silent witness. And then we have the preface here. And then we have a new introduction by Craig Williams. So I guess he had an introduction to the original edition. And then, yeah, here's the original introduction. And then there was a second introduction that was put on top of it for this new edition, which is pretty cool. But yeah, as you can see here, we just got all these beautiful artworks. And I'm not going to show everything that's in here. I don't want to spoil the discovery for people, but I can at least show some things from the very beginning here. Like here's another one of these little quotes. It's not necessarily a quote though. Like these don't necessarily come from other places in the text. They're sort of standalone quotes, if that makes sense. The mirage of transcendent realities confuses the blind. The very presence of the soul brings forth fear, confusion, yet in like manner, purification. And then just look at this beautiful artwork here. Lead me from unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Which is a quote from one of the Upanishads. And then we hop into the first chapter here, which is the Mirage. And the Mirage just sort of talks about a lot of a theme that goes throughout both of these books that I'm reading right now of Craig's, Dr. Williams. A theme that goes throughout his books is talking about the control systems that are in the modern world that are leeching away our attention and our ability to communicate with the other worlds and the inner worlds and the outer worlds. Sort of humans used to be on a more primal level and able to communicate more readily with gods and spirits and otherworldly beings, but as we focus ourselves more on artificial light, artificial entertainment, artificial sound, artificial thought forms, we get further and further away from the ability to properly communicate with anything other than our television or computer, for instance. So, this first book is a very fun read and I wouldn't call it a light read, but it's a read that can be done by anybody easily. Like, this is, if you have no or little knowledge of esoteric, occult, Gnostic, whatever related themes, you can more or less follow this book pretty easily. Now, as we move into the cult of Golgotha, that is a different story. This one is much more detailed, much more complex. Yeah, again, this is where I'm at in this book right now, and you can see just beautiful imagery in all of these books. This one is a much harder read for me because I don't have this really in-depth history in the different topics that are being communicated here in this book. So it gets really hard for me to follow things, but I like a challenge, and since that's the case, this feels really fun to me. This is making me tap into parts of my mind that have been dormant since I got out of university. It's like, I feel like back when I was learning Latin and ancient Greek again, where it's like you're trying to read a story in ancient Greek, but you can't figure out this word. So before you can get any further into your story, you have to figure out what the hell this word is. And it's sort of, I mean, that's maybe a bad descriptor of it, but basically, you know, I read a paragraph and I say, what the hell did I just read? And then I go doing some extra research, and then I read the paragraph again and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. That's really, really interesting. Really makes sense. So you have to put in the extra work with this book. You either have to come into it knowing a lot and having read a lot, or you have to be willing to read a lot. Unless you're just 100% reading it for entertainment purposes and don't really care to fully appreciate the depths of what Craig is putting together. And this is something very, very serious that he's putting together with this. These two books here, Entering the Desert and The Cult of Golgotha, really play off of each other. Like, there's a lot of passages and illustrations and concepts in one book that will illuminate different passages and illustrations in the other book, and vice versa. They really just play back and forth off of each other. And again, as I said, Entering the Desert really doesn't require any extra reading. But Cult of Golgotha, I have a list of books to pick up on Amazon. Like, my wish list is like, I've added like 15 books to it since I started reading Cult of Golgotha, because he has been studying these things that he's talking about for 30 years. And he has 30 years worth of background in these topics before he started putting them together. So in order for us to fully appreciate what he's talking about, we sort of need to do that work ourselves. So he'll present an idea and basically have a footnote that says, you know, I spent one sentence explaining this idea, but this is a very, very detailed idea, and there's a whole lot to it. And in order to understand this idea, you need to read this book or read a number of books by this other author, whatever the case may be. So, and in entering the desert, you can basically take the knowledge that he's giving you and incorporate that into any practice of your own. Like, say like me with Quaria. You can see back here behind my head, I have my Quaria Apprentice book. I've been trying to work through that since like 2017. It's a slow process. But entering the desert can help me with Quaria, because there's just ways that he tells you to go about reading books that makes it, reading esoteric books in particular, or religious texts, where you, I don't want to go into the specifics of what he's saying, because that would make it pointless to read his book, and I want you to read his book because it's a hell of a read. But basically, this will enrich your own workings, whether you're following Quaria, or you're following Wicca, or you're following Christianity, or you're following Islam. Any of these different religious followings that you would have, paths that you would have, I should say, can be better illuminated by the prescriptions that he gives in entering the desert. And so Cult of Golgotha is his path. This is him telling you how to enrich your own path, and this is him telling you what his path actually is. So for him, his major sources of inspiration and learning come from Ayurveda and sort of yoga and Tantra, as goes his third book, which I haven't really started reading yet, but this one is also very much connected to the topic. This one here is Tantric Physics, Volume 1 and 2. So his Tantric Physics go very much hand in hand with the topics in Cult of Golgotha. And also Haitian and Louisiana Voodoo go very much into this topic. Sort of, it's almost like a necromantic Voodoo through the scope of Tantra, presented in the actual the way of doing things that comes out of entering the desert, if that makes sense. I know that's a mouthful. But I think I did, yeah, although it's confusing, maybe, I think I did present that in a way that is accurate. So if you don't know anything about Voodoo, then that makes Cult of Golgotha harder to understand. If you don't know anything about Tantra, that makes Cult of Golgotha harder to understand. If you don't know anything about Ayurveda, that makes Cult of Golgotha harder to understand. If you don't know anything about necromancy, that makes Cult of Golgotha harder to understand. So, in learning this book and truly understanding this book, you will read 15 other books and enrich yourself in like many, many ways along that path. So it's a bit daunting, but absolutely worth it. Even if you're not interested in following his path, just understanding what his path is really cool. It's some interesting shit. Like some really interesting shit. And just on a, I literally just flipped open to a page, and here we go. Here's another. This was just the page that I grabbed. There's just beautiful imagery throughout this book. Here we've got the cover. And he uses a lot of concepts and quotes from William S. Burroughs. So, like, here, the quote that we have starting this chapter is you will hear about white and black lodges, the right-hand path and the left-hand path. Believe me, there is no sharp line. And here you see we've got, as I mentioned, there's these little individual sections that in Golgotha, samadhi equals time travel. Just a little idea of the different things that are being worked with here. Then here we have an sort of alien ethereal creature with a verba, which will totally make sense to you by the end of reading that chapter or that book. Maybe the entire book, but definitely, yeah, you get it. So yeah, I'm not sure right now how much more I should say about this, but I'll have to, as I said, I'll be doing some individual reviews of these two books in the very near future. I was going to go ahead and review Entering the Desert, but I kind of feel like it's going to be better if I finish reading both of these before I review them, and possibly even all three of these, because they really do go together. All of them do. So, that's the first two there. And this is Tantric Physics, Volumes 1 and 2 by Craig Williams. So he released Volume 1 before Cult of Golgotha. So Volume 1 was Cave of the Numinous, and this Volume 1 is referenced in both of those previous books that I just showed you. However, Volume 2 was written after those two books. So I am waiting till last to read this one, but probably if I really wanted to do it in perfect chronological order, I should have started with Cave of the Numinous, and then read Entering the Desert, and then read Cult of Golgotha, and then come back and read Volume 2, Sacred Body, Sacred Space. That would be the exact order to go through these three books. A bit confusing, and takes a bit of, as I said, it takes a lot of time and energy, and also a bit of money to actually have all three copies before you get started. And it's very interesting here. For the first book, I like to see the way that he's gone through explaining himself, just his name. In Entering the Desert, it was by Craig Williams. And then in Cult of Golgotha, it's now Dr. Craig Williams Tal Lazarus. And then in Tantric Physics, we have Craig Williams Indra Ram Das Agori, Sri Subgananda Nath. So he either is adding I don't know the proper terminology. He's like, I don't think it's that he's necessarily becoming greater of a master of these different things. I think he already was at the proper level to use these different terms, if that makes sense. But I think like the idea is that Entering the Desert is for everybody, therefore he doesn't necessarily need to have a surname, like a Doctor or a Ram Das or whatever. Like the his Nat or Aguri, these don't really matter in Entering the Desert. Then in Cult of Golgotha, he's sort of, as far as I can tell, like the head of the cult of Golgotha, if it has a head. He hasn't really explained like a hierarchy of any kind within that. He makes, I should say, he makes he makes it very obvious that what's her name here? Shoot. Um, I have it in my notes. There's a woman that her name is escaping me at the moment, but he calls her throughout the book the matriarch of the cult of Golgotha. So she's the only person that he has given some sort of a. I'm having a hard time finding her name now. That's too bad. I'm looking in the wrong book. That's why. Getting myself confused here. Yeah, because I think she wrote. Okay, yeah, she's here in the acknowledgments. Layla Wendell. He says that she is the matriarch of the cult of Golgotha. Oh, sorry, I'll put it up here where you guys can see the acknowledgments. That's kind of an interesting thing for the cult of Golgotha. His acknowledgments. He's got Aleister Crowley in there, which I'm sure we all know. William S. Burroughs. Michael Bertio is the guy that wrote the Esoteric Voodoo workbook. Really interesting book that I'm going to pick up here soon. And then maybe some of you guys are also familiar with some of these other names here. So I haven't started reading this one yet, so I am not going to be in a position to go. This is where I stop explaining the books and start just showing the books. But yeah, so basically, as I said, Cave of the Luminous, or a Cave of the Numinous, I mean, was written several years ago. And then Vol.II, Sacred Body, Sacred Space, was written after he finished Cult of Golgotha, or simultaneous to it. I'm not quite sure which one, but it was released after Cult of Golgotha. So these three books, really sort of four books, if you separate these two out, all melt in together. They all sort of work off of each other. But I think this one would be more of a standalone from the others. This one should be able to be read without consideration of the other two, but I haven't read it yet, so I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just assuming that that's the case. And we've got some, again, there's some really beautiful stuff in here. The cover is just absolutely brilliant, the Sanskrit. And then part 2 has some really beautiful imagery. Got the T-lock here, really beautiful imagery of the I think this is Shiva's T-lock. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It's either Vishnu or Shiva. I'm pretty sure this one is Shiva, and this one is Vishnu, if I'm right. I'm learning so much right now. I already have been kind of interested in learning a lot of this stuff, but these books have forced me into doing it more quickly. And so, we find this. Got some really nice stuff here. Just like even when we're just talking about the formatting of the book, it's just really beautiful. We've got a little a couple quotes from the Bhagavad Gita here, which is a ancient Hindu text for those of you that might not be aware. It's really beautiful imagery. I love this one. And where's the one I'm looking for here? Yeah, so this beautiful Krishna painting here. And I actually have this hanging up on my wall over here. Let's see if I can do this without ruining everything. Well, it's not particularly optimal, but you see over there I've got that above my reading desk. I've got sort of a little makeshift altar type situation there, and I have that print of Krishna hanging up on my wall. It's a really, really lovely print. I recommend you guys to pick some of them up if you're interested in this sort of thing. Where was my camera at? There we go. A little further. Yeah, that's more like it. Any questions yet? You guys are silently listening to me, so I'm assuming you're enthralled with what I'm talking about here. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and maybe have a throat drop. I think I will have a throat drop. I love these things. Honey licorice. So, this is actually a standard edition. This isn't the collector's edition. This is just the regular standard edition here. Now, this is actually the front cover, but... So mine is number 769 of 1000. And they don't have any more of the collector's edition of this one. I might be able to show it to you anyway. Get it pulled up here. Oh man, these things are beautiful. No, I don't see what I'm looking for. Maybe this one only was in one edition. I could be wrong about that. I've only been like really getting into this company's work for the last couple of months here, so I'm sort of still a beginner on all this stuff, but I really, really love it. So let's take a second here now and hop over to my browser view. There we go. So, first book I showed you was Entering the Desert, and I'll go ahead and show you guys this. They have this really beautiful bookmark here that they made to go along with Entering the Desert. Made by the McCaughry company, which is really, really kick-ass if you guys aren't familiar with Nate McCaughry and his company. He does beautiful, beautiful work. I follow him on Instagram. I actually didn't realize until just now when I was looking at this with you guys here that he was the one that did that. But yeah, it's a bit expensive, especially for a bookmark, but they only made a couple of them, so they weren't expecting like 1 million people to... I mean, yeah, see, they only made 30 of them here, so these are for the diehards, and there's only 9 left. This thing is really badass. Triptych. This just was announced the other day. Limited to some number between 75 and 150 hand-numbered sets. It's a set of 3 images, high-quality art prints printed on exquisite, thick, and highly textured. How do you say that? Hannibal William Turner. 310 GSM paper carton. And these are 11 by 22 inches each. which is that's pretty large. It's not like massive, but that's pretty big. And some really, really beautiful, beautiful imagery. Oh my god. Uh, yeah, and just the one on the right has the color in it, and it's pretty impressive. It's the Christ in Hell triptych. Uh, Stylistically, the aim has been to achieve the sensation of a floating world, purposefully seeking for mannerism in several figures. It seeks to draw without restrictions of space or gravity. This follows the description of Tartarus, or Gehenna, as a bottomless pit. But why did Christ descend to hell during the day in which he was dead? Redeeming the ancients seems to be the answer of the apocryphal gospel. But if so, why were they in hell without a fair judgment? Were they not righteous men? Or is it perhaps the Gnostic interpretation comes to play after all, and their sin was not of a moral kind, but ignorance from a revelation that they could not have achieved before? And so the light of the sun would play a double symbolism in this narrative, and the light of knowledge. But how could this be consistent with the history of salvation, as preconceived by a just God? How could the later notion of purgatory be developed if so? Perhaps the impossibility of answering such questions is what led this to be an apocryphal piece that could not fit any consistent doctrine of salvation. Therefore, the descent into hell remains as a mystery, but a fascinating one. These are excerpts from a lengthier essay by Jose Gabriel Alguerilla entitled Christ in Hell. So, this triptych was where does it say here? I don't think it does say, actually. But yeah, this was if I'm correct, which I think I am, this was the guy that made the book, that made the triptych, and he also did the artwork for Gabriel McCaughry's book Aurora, which should, I think, hopefully be a paperback here in the near future, because I did not get a chance to check out the hardcover. That's this one here. Really beautiful book. And this is the gentleman that I will be speaking with this weekend, but I will be speaking with him just about the label, the publishing house in general, not so much not so much about his book. I'll be talking to him in terms of his company, not him as an author. And hopefully again in the future I'll be able to speak with him as an author. Yeah, the hardcover is really exquisite. Yeah, there's his name again. Yep, I was right. Yeah, so this guy was the one that did the triptych there. Jose Gabriel Agaria Sabogal. And then this is the Entering the Desert paperback that I was showing you guys. This is in Canadian dollars, 29. That's like 25 American dollars. I'll go ahead and switch it to, you can switch it right here over to US. Only 20, yeah, that's only 22 American dollars. So, the hardcovers can get increasingly expensive depending on which version you pick up, but the paperbacks are really, really priced to read. It's not, you don't have to break the bank to pick up these paperbacks. You can grab a couple of those and still have some money left for dinner afterward. But if you want to spend your dinner money on the hardcovers, it's totally worth it. And I also wanted to point out in relation to Entering the Desert here that in the initial versions, the hardcover versions, which are now sold out, they came with a Bandcamp download code for this album that we're looking at here. As you can see, this is private. This was only available to the people that had the codes that purchased the books. And now that the hardcovers are sold out, these albums are available through the musicians' pages So, I don't have, oh yeah, I do. Okay, so if you go over to Zazen Sounds Bandcamp, this is all of those tracks, plus a couple of additional tracks. It says here, 4 years after the critically high acclaimed Yang Trole release, Shibalba and Alone in the Hollow Garden and Nam-khar joined forces again for a new release on Zazen Sounds. Some of the tracks were recorded as a soundtrack, a digital version for the visionary Entering the Desert Grimoire by the author Craig Williams, brought to light by Anathema Publishing. For the current Digipack edition released by Zazen Sounds, 3 new rituals were recorded. They all work as a sonic guide, an audio map through the listener's own inner desert. Highly recommended for meditative rites. So, I've been listening to this quite a bit. It's a very nice album. Very nice album. And this is one of the things that brought Anathema to my attention is, if you see over here, go to the music. They distribute various different record labels through their Anathema publishing site now. So when you pick up one of these occult books to read, you can go ahead and pick up some dark ambient music to listen to while you're reading it. This Hymnambuli and Darley cassette here is something that I have been listening to quite a bit while I've been reading these books. Also, Bonini Bulga's Blood Name. Let me hop back onto the camera here. Actually, let's go to the other view. Here we have Hymnambuli's and Darley cassette. Really, really love this. I'm sorry, I'll do it like that. Really, really lovely cassette. I just keep flipping this thing over. Also, I really love listening to this while I'm meditating. I don't always listen to music while I meditate, but when I do listen to music and meditate, this is one of my favorite releases to do so. Lovely, lovely release. And Anathema has a couple more Hypnagoga Press albums available currently. Just a few copies left of each. They've only got one of this cassette left, and they've got 3 of the CDs. You can also obviously still pick these up directly from Hypnagoga Press, but I'm more talking about Anathema here today and the dark ambient that connects to Anathema. And this will be another major topic of discussion in this weekend's interview, how Anathema Publishing's books intersect with dark ambient music, why it works out so well. As far as other labels are concerned, we've got some Zazen Sounds releases here with these 2. There's quite a bit of Alone in the Hollow Garden releases, which I just absolutely love. Alone in the Hollow Garden. I've been enjoying their music for years, but I've really, really gotten to fall in love with a lot of their work over the last couple of months as I've been listening to that while I've been reading some of these books here. Particular favorite for me is the Stellar Dissolution here. I also really like Sempiternal Equinox, but these are all quite nice. Then there's some Imperium, and then we have a bunch of Cyclic Law down here because Anathema sells Cyclic Law's CDs through their Canadian distro, and Cyclic Law sells Anathema's books through their French distro, which is really cool. So if we go over here to this page, this is cycliclaw.com. If you look here under books, we've got the second one down as Anathema Publishing. So you can pick up a bunch of this stuff directly from Cyclic Law. Oh, wow. You see, there's the Tantric Physics Collector's Edition. Oh man, he still has a copy of that, at least one. That's cool. So yeah, you can still get those from Cyclic Law, it appears. I didn't even know that. That's awesome. And then this was the second book that I was showing you guys, Cult of Golgotha, also by Craig Williams here. I'll just go ahead and read, even though I've spoken about the book already, I'll just go ahead and read through the description here, in case I didn't make it perfectly obvious. Scragg says, so since Cyclic Law distributes books in Europe, the limited and collector's editions sell out differently. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, if they sell out from the main source, then if Frederick hasn't sold out of his yet, then yeah, you can still grab one over there. Yeah, so Cult of Golgotha presents a mysterious and strange glimpse into a creative occult current of revealed Gnostic expression, the alchemical cross-pollination of tantric physics and esoteric voodoo. Gnostic Bishop Craig Williams reveals a systematic vista of quantum exploration within the womb of the Dark Goddess, and her web-like reach into the elemental world of Gnostic voodoo. This text reveals the insidious archonic system of control, which endangers the psyche and spirit of contemporary consciousness, severing the individual from the chaotic and demonic world of the soul. Cult of Golgotha reveals a Gnostic imaginarium wherein the words of science and the imagination coexist in alchemical symbiosis, stimulating the reawakening of the fire of the soul. This text expresses glimpses of a unique vision for escaping the archonic forces impinging upon the mind-body of contemporary mankind, and the vital role that the awakened dead play in the liberation of human consciousness through Ahrimanic manipulation. The initiate of Golgotha is a metaphysician of the imaginal, a tantric physicist who transforms the mind-body into an atmosphere of the ambient dead, drawing upon decades of initiatic work within tantric physics, esoteric medical sciences, and esoteric voodoo. Cult of Golgotha is the path of the strange attractor and the Zandoric mysteries, a metaphysics, a forbidden singularity. Really interesting stuff. So, I've got that out of order. I wanted to drag this over here. All right, so also in relation to the Cult of Golgotha, we have this print here that's still available. I think there's only a few of these left. The Cult is Alive was created by Haitian artist and teacher at the New Vision Art School in Port-au-Prince. Leslie Pierre Paul is it's a painting inspired by the visionary text from author Craig Williams. And then I also wanted to go through the description here for tantric physics, since I really can't describe it too well myself yet, as I haven't read it myself yet. We worship three-eyed Lord, who is fragrant and who nourishes all beings. As the ripened cucumber is freed from its bondage to the creeper, may he liberate us from death for the sake of immortality. Deep within the mysterious caves of the Himalayas, saturated by the cosmic radiations of the sacred Mount Kailas and Lake Manasarovar, manifests a radically unique current of esoteric Hinduism, a tantric physics. First explored in Tantric Physics Volume 1, Cave of the Numinous, the new release of Anathema Publishing, Tantric Physics 2, Sacred Body, Sacred Space, continues to express the haunting inner realization of initiatic perceptions, embracing both the right-hand and left-hand paths. The text reveals a unique vision of tantric physics, utilizing a branch of Vedika sciences, yoga, Ayurveda, Jyotish, Vedanta, and Tantra. Far from a dry academic text, Tantric Physics 2, Sacred Body, Sacred Space, reveals an intensely personal initiatic vision of the human body, Shiavite and Vaishnava Gnostic streams, and the mysterious path of the Agori, leading unto the womb of the dark goddess and all her intoxicating manifestations. Included within the upcoming publication is the reprint of the long sold-out Tantric Physics 1, Cave of the Numinous, which presents critically preparatory materials for the shadowy pathways in the Samashan of Tantric Physics. Why couldn't you order a book from the US distributor? I don't know why there'd be a problem. I mean, they're in Canada, but I think you mean that you couldn't get it from Anathema, but that shouldn't be a problem, should it? I mean, I can personally order from either company. So, an artist you were forwarded to Cyclic Law. Interesting. I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Yeah, I was not aware of that. I'm not quite sure what's up with that. Um, so, and artists that I've been following for years, yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I haven't, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm here in the United States, so it just might be a different situation for me, I guess. So Maha Pralaya created a soundtrack for this Tantric Physics book, which is really cool. I'm not quite sure if it was included with it or not, but it definitely was inspired by it, if nothing else. So we got a 22-minute track for part 1 and a 24-minute track for part 2, which is pretty cool. And the album is available for $666, which I might add is, I think, the most common number aside from $1 that people pay for my Bandcamp compilations. So I was mentioning that Krishna print that I have on my wall. You can see that one here. And then there's another print, the Agni print, that's also in Tantric Physics, Volume 2. And then the next book that I wanted to show here is Rod and Ring. The Scrage here has the collector's edition, which is badass. Really, really beautiful edition there. Just really amazing. But I have the standard edition here, so let's hop back over to my camera. By Samuel David. Samuel or Samuel? I think it's Samuel. Really beautiful book here. I haven't started reading this one. I'm looking forward to reading this probably next after Tantric Physics. I got number 263 of 700. So yeah, this is Rod and Ring, an initiation into a Mesopotamian mystery tradition by Samuel David. This is their most recent release. So here's the different sections of the book here. We've got the Mesopotamian Gods Live Again, the preface by Jack Grail, and then an introduction by Samuel David. And then we've got the different books, the Threshold, the Foundation, the Ascent, and the Descent. Then some appendices, section about the author, and afterword by the author, and then another little section about the company. I'll read this little intro section here. They presented to him the divine kingship and the throne of mankind, and they bestowed upon him the rod and the ring, those invincible weapons, unyielding and relentless, which overcomes the foe. So yeah, again, we've just got, I mean, you got this whole page that's this really nice artwork here, and then just like, look at that. Let me get it up close here. Let's get it in. Get my stupid camera to focus. Well, my camera's not focusing too great, but just these little attentions to detail throughout the books are just really nice. Just like these sorts of things here between the sections just really adds to it. Just kind of flip through this a little bit. As I said, another just beautiful imagery here. This is cool. I'll just sort of look at this little section here. I haven't really looked through this any yet, but we have a ritual fumigant. It talks a little bit about it here. For those who prefer to create their own blend of incense to use in ritual, one may refer to the ingredients and following recipe, and then adapt it to their own preferences. Plant matter in the form of wood shavings or freshly harvested needles may be used in addition to frankincense or locally collected resins. So then we have here the ingredients: juniper, cedar, cypress, frankincense, honey, and essential oil. I bet that smells amazing. I've used some slightly similar combinations myself in the past. I really love incense combinations. Got a lot of different, just different, like, almost, I guess, prayers, or, again, I haven't really read this myself yet, so I can't say specifically, but some beautiful stuff here. Yeah, that's cool. So, like, in the following, the admonition of Ishkur, in the following passages, read the words in parentheses silently, as they are spoken by Ishkur during the course of this ritual. Allow those words to take root in your mind as though his manifested presence was speaking them directly to you. It would be appropriate to read aloud the italicized text, which is that of the supplicant. As you read, if you are able, walk in place as you symbolically descend the dizzying stair from the temple courtyard to the summit of the holy mountain. It's really awesome. Yeah, this edition is quite nice. It really is. For being the standard edition, this is really beautiful as well. Yeah, here in the appendices we have a recommended reading section. He's got a bunch of other books on the topic. I'd be interested to see if I have a couple of these already. I wanted to look through this appendix and see. I have a couple of different books on the Mesopotamian, Sumerian religions. So that would be cool if I do maybe have a little bit of this stuff already. But I haven't read any of it, but I might have some of it. I did a little bit of research on this in my first year of college, but I didn't go very deep into Mesopotamian religions. All right. Um, Actually, I'll go ahead and read, before I move on to this next book. I will keep this one here for the moment, and I will read the description of it. Um, History tells us of the mystery traditions of Isis, Dionysus, and Mithras. But what of the mysteries of Inanna, Enki, and Dumuzid? Author Samuel David's Order of the Rod and Ring seeks to fill those lacunae with a spiritual journey that combines traditional Mesopotamian praxis with a contemporary paradigm. Immerse yourself in this mystery tradition as you undertake a mythopoetic journey informed by historical, religious, and cultic practices, as well as mythology and research from experts in the fields of Assyriology. Prepare yourself to approach the shrine of the gods as their supplicant. Take up the divine measures bestowed upon humanity as their servant, and brave the dark as you descend into the depths of the underworld. Be reborn as the temple steward, and pass through the heavenly gates to present yourself as one worthy to be entrusted with their holy regalia, the rod and the ring. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading that. Okay, so next up, this is a collector's edition here. This is the only one that I have of the collector's edition so far. So this is Kurukulla, Goddess of Bewitchment. Or yes, very, very gorgeous, lovely book. Let me get the. I think I'm getting some glare here. Let me see where my glare is coming from. I think it might be coming from my window. Give me 1 second. That didn't really help much, did it? Just turning the light off is better. All right, we will just do this by the light of the sun, as it should be, probably. Yeah, yeah, really lovely edition here. It's got the gold is all inset. It's all sort of embedded into it, and then you see also there's these other embedded sections as well that are not that don't have the gold foil. So then this one just has the gold inner pages, and then we have the nameplate here, the collector's plate or whatever you would call it. I have copy 154 of 206. There's only a couple of these left on their page now. I think they only have 6 of this edition left, 5 or 6 of it, I think. In Kurukulla, Goddess of Bewitchment, a devotional path to the Red Enchantress of Udiana, author Veronica Rivas combines academic research with personal experience to offer a theoretical, practical study of Kurukulla, the goddess in Hinduism related to desire, lust, magic, and witchcraft. Many of these aspects were left aside, however, as her importance and popularity within Tantric Buddhism continued to grow. In Kurukulla, we have a goddess of tribal origins, initially venerated as a protector by various nomadic clans who related her to fertility and material affairs, yet also considered her dangerous and fearsome. Progressively, the goddess was incorporated into the Buddhist pantheon, and during this process, Kurukulla acquired different roles and lost others. Many practices were developed related to issues such as protection against animals and certain diseases, obtaining influential positions in society, love affairs, and even getting rid of one's enemies. Kurukulla, goddess of bewitchment, offers a tantric perspective on a deity considered the goddess of eroticism, the mistress of enchantments and bewitchment, who uses desire as a weapon for transcendence. Practicing with Kurukulla allows us to reach our true nature by making our daily life, our fears and weaknesses, the very source of liberation. The goddess of the red body represents the pure manifestation of intrinsic wisdom, the primordial energy that nourishes all realms of existence, as well as life and death as contemporary opposites. The rituals and devotionals presented in this book are intended to openly and freely establish a deep connection with the deity. They are shared in a simple and understandable way that will allow practitioners to integrate them into their life easily and completely. Yes, I'm really looking forward to getting into this one also. And I kind of want to read this one like next after Tantric Physics, because as you see, this one is also related to Tantra. But I do want to get into Rod and Ring, so I might have to flip a coin to decide which one of these to read next. It might either be Kurukulla or Rod and Ring. Not quite sure. And again, we've got just beautiful imagery in here. Starts out with an introduction, a historical background, Tantra and magic, symbology and meaning, and then in part 2 we move into preliminary observations, daily practice, preparing a mala dedicated to Kurukulla, a prayer to Kurukulla, a prayer to say before undertaking a new project, a full moon purification ritual, invocation to Kurukulla at sunrise and at sunset, and then a bibliography and some about the authors and publisher. And the illustrations in here were done by Andrei Savchenko. And here the first page, just really beautiful. A smoldering force, the primordial source from which everything emanates and to which all returns. You turned into earth, and you turned into breath, and in blood you became. And your breath turned into my breath, and your blood into my blood. O great Kurukulla, your flame burns inside me. Really beautiful. So yeah, just the origin of this book goes back to a meditation I undertook during a set of invocations of Maria Padilla of the souls, whom I consider the most important guide of my life. Just the beginning there, so really cool stuff. Oh, we lost our sunlight. That didn't last long. Yeah, just really lovely stuff here. Just like, look at the page numbers here. If I can get this up on it correctly. There we go. Yeah, see, oh god, my camera sucks. I'm having a hard, oh, here we go. I can do it like this. It'll be upside down, but you probably see it better. But yeah, these, just the, like, this little, embellishment here on the page numbers, just everything throughout these books is just really top notch. It's lovely stuff here. And I will keep moving along here. Thank you guys for sticking with me. It looks like a bunch of people dropped off, and then we've got some other people that have hopped into the stream. Who is just stopping by here, and for those of you that have stuck around for the entire time, I appreciate it. I guess if you're not into occult books or esoteric books or whatever we would call these, you might be like, what the hell is Michael talking about today? But I really, damn, what the hell? Ever since I changed the lighting, now it's giving me a bunch of noise. Let me see if I can get this to, change a little bit here. I might have to mess with my camera settings real quick. Yeah, I don't know why I got all this noise in here all of a sudden. Or maybe it was here the whole time. Maybe I'm just not realizing it. Oh well. But yeah, thank you guys all for stopping by. And what do you think of this sort of layout that I'm doing here, where I've got the second camera that I'm showing the books with the second camera? I came up with this idea earlier. I was watching different book reviews on YouTube and seeing how different people went about using their cameras, and I really like the way that Foolish Fish like shows his books like this, but I also I like, I don't know if it's narcissism or something, but I feel like it makes more sense to be able to see the face of the person that's talking instead of just their hands. So I started messing around with like trying to combine the two cameras together to do this. So I hope you guys like it. Maybe you'd rather just not see my face at all. But you get it. Nothing you can do about it. Actually, let me try to spin this light around here a little bit more. Thank you, Mater Lacrimarun. Oh. Been going for an hour and a half, need a little stretch. Everybody else stretch. We've been sitting here for a while. Why is your name a different color? Everybody's got different color. I don't know. I don't understand how this works. I guess everybody has different colored names. Gonna light up a little bit of my Palo Santo stick here. I got my candle back here behind me. I just set this baby on fire. It smells absolutely amazing. You guys should be jealous of my Palo Santo right now. I go through like one of these sticks a week. I keep thinking I have enough to last me, and then I have to get more again. But it's exquisite smell. Absolutely exquisite. Okay, where are we at here? Oh man, alright, so as I was saying, yeah, let's hop over here to this other view. So, yeah, some of these books come in like various different editions, and this one here is the artisanal edition. $569 Canadian dollars for that bad boy, but look how beautiful it is. This is a slipcase that it's in. And then this is the book itself inside of that slipcase. Look at that spine. Oh my god, look at that spine. That shit is sexy. Look at those, I think they're called end pages? End papers? I don't know. I need to learn my, my bookmaking terminology. Just absolutely exquisite work, craftsmanship here. Beautiful images. And then, let's see what other, alright, everything else inside of the book I can show you in my edition. Hop back over here. Yeah, so this is the one I have here. Not nearly as expensive. Again, you can, for Americans, we can switch that. That's 66 US dollars, 56 euros. Not too expensive. It's not cheap for a hardcover book, but it's really worth the extra money. It really is. When you get one of these in your hands, you're like, okay, I see what's up. I understand now. There we go. Yeah, so, this is actually part 2 of, in my head it's Shani Oates, but I keep hearing, I've heard people say it, I think Shani or Shani. I'm not sure which one of the two it is, sorry. Sorry, Ms. Oates, for not being able to be sure about how to say your name properly. But, Shani Oates, as I will continue saying it, and hopefully not incorrectly, is one of the more prominent writers with Anathema. This is her, at least her 3rd book. I have another one of her books here that I'm going to show you in a few moments. But this is the 2nd in a particular series that the 3rd has not yet been released. This one is relatively new as well. Within the last couple of months it came out. So I guess it would make sense for me to just go ahead and show you the 1st book, and then we can move, and then I'll show you this one. So this is the 1st book in the Odin series. This is now available in paperback. So the challenging former atrophied or outdated knowledge regarding Odin's acquisition of the runes and the mead of poetry. This extensive and intense study revisits Havamal, Volupsa, Skaldskaparmal, Grimnismal, Heimskringla, and Inglinga sagas. God, that's a mouthful. Specifically to unravel and reconnect crucial factors that collectively reveal a magical formula for rebirth and resurrection. These kennings have preserved the threads of mysteries pertaining to Runar, enriched in taboo. Odin's quest of discovery takes him through 3 historically attested trials as rites of passage. That final parallel forms in other animistic traditions. His ordeals of mound, tree, and sacral kingship, together with an articulation of the role of a Hamingya, are hitherto connected. Using a multidisciplinary approach that includes forensic and ethnoanthropology, mythology, archaeology, folklore, and etymology, previous speculations regarding Odin's association with sacrifice, penal codes, and shamanism are shown to be flawed. Instead, for the first time, personal experience is combined with intensive research that provide plausible solutions to age-old puzzles, solving anomalies surrounding Scandinavian lore. A clear cultus is revealed of a hidden elite totally focused on surviving Ragnarok via the application of arcane magics. New insights present the real location of Valhall, and explain Odin's ancestral relationship with wolves. I'm so sorry for getting all this wording wrong. Some Scandinavian is cringing hard right now. I'm sorry. Sacred cows are called in a controversial reinterpretation of Yggdrasil, Sleipnir, and Mimir, based entirely within information drafted from obscure or overlooked texts. Originally, extracts interject the text, adding substantial weight that fully support the conclusion offered. Songs and charms, giants and dwarves, cauldrons and mana, totemic beasts, burial customs, fear of the dead, their propitiation, and the death that walks slaying, sacrifice, and tribal mothers feature in this expedition into the past to discover real identities for its key players and real purpose in their deeds. By sorcerous enchantments, Odin traversed a magical pathway to overcome fate. His mastery of runic sorcery and necromancy is finally given cause. Where was I at here? Oh, that's awesome. I did not realize this. I wonder if he also... Okay, so I lost my place, but you guys get the idea of what I'm going for here. So anyways, this is the first book in the Odin trilogy, The Hanged God, Odin Grimnir. And I'm now reading here, thoroughly illustrated throughout by Chris Undirheimar, of Blood and Fire Ritual Art. So we know him from his Zazen Sounds, Cyclic Law, and Black Mara releases. Where are we at here? I had it pulled up. Here we go. So yeah, here's one of his latest releases on Zazen, Angerboda. Really, really cool stuff here. Great. I'll play just a little bit of this. Yeah, so this album on Zazen is 53 minute, almost 54 minutes of his throat singing of that variety. And then on Cyclic Law, we have Helrunar, which is more traditional type of sort of ritual ambient. Sort of there's definitely still some third singing in this one, but this is more musical. Both really great albums. Highly recommended. So yeah, I was familiar with him through these albums here, and then I found out that he was the one that made. I was gonna come to this, but I'll just go ahead and hop into it now. These bone runes, this visualization meditation deck that's released from Anathema, and also Chris Undirheimar sells it himself directly. On your wish list now, hell yes. These things are really, really badass. This is on my wish list as well. The Bone Runes cards are a unique and original creation from Bloodfire Ritual Art. Their purpose is to help the practitioner of the Northern Path or anyone interested in runic meditation or divination with any type of ritual work involving runic forces and symbolism. The bone runes themselves were crafted from deer jaws and bones, specifically displayed in the various shapes of the 24 runes of the Elder Germanic Futhark. Sorry again for my pronunciation. The idea was to create runes with a strong primal energy to them, a powerful shamanic feel, in their conception, which is representative of their intrinsic essence, ancient and genuine. Cool stuff. I'm really interested in those. So yeah, he basically like laid all these out himself, and then took photographs of them, and then used those to make these cards that are used for divination, visualization, meditation, however you find best to use them. Really cool stuff there. All right, I'm gonna close a couple of these before I get myself too lost here. We will continue for just a second since I already brought this bad boy up. This is another set of new things. Look at the price tag on that motherfucker. One of a kind, though. This is a Luciferian Famulus, a little familiar. The ul means tiny. So this is a little familiar, a little Luciferian familiar that was made out of sterling silver and emerald stone by AZK. This is Shandi Bouscatier from Montreal, Canada. Really beautiful stuff here. They just posted these up the other day. There's a bunch of different ones on here. All I'll go ahead and scroll down to it. Here we go. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ones. Some of these there might be more than one, but I think for the most part they're just they're all unique for the most part. I really like this one, the Arachne Eye. This one's much cheaper. Still expensive, but much cheaper than the previous one. Yeah, this says that it's unique as well. I'm assuming, yeah, that means that only one of them was made. So once this one is sold, then that's the end of that one. This one's cool here too. The Baphometic pentagram. Also much, you know, still expensive, but much more reasonably priced than the previous one. Still, sterling silver pendant. Pretty cool. Yeah, really cool stuff there. Okay, so back to Wolf's Head now. So Wolf's Head is the second book in this Odin trilogy by Shani Oates. Odin's identity as the ecstatic god of the tethers of law and death is least recognized through his skin-turning and shape-shifting techniques as gifts of the highest craft he imparts to a shamanic warrior elite. Those themes are explored in this volume, alighting upon a wide range of magics and histories identified within the Odinic cultus. Medieval source materials yield a wealth of information relating to totemism, ritual guising, the Berserker, Ulfednar as Odin's true wolf warriors, motifs of magical beasts in battle. I'm not going to try to get through all these words, so let me just continue down here. You guys can read through this if you want to read all that, but I'm just going to butcher like 3/4 of the words in that paragraph. All apologies. Enchanted thread, girdles, withies and staves, satyr and vulir are woven through the time-honored mysteries shared by Beowulf, Grendel, and his Brimwolf, the sea wolf mother. Nordic culture drew inspiration and influence from the magical and martial disciplines of the Sami, Slavic, North European, and Eurasian peoples, invoking the divine ecstasy of creation. Shaman priests and warriors stand outside time. Odin's antinomian challenges generated considerable friction within societal law. The dehumanization of the Skargamadir, wild men of the forest, outlawed for following his rule, rendered them indistinct from the forest wolf's status, and were perceived as equal quarry. Transpersonal experiences shaped their realities relating to identification through a clan totem, namely the wolf, and later the dragon, worm, and raven, not merely as wild beasts of battle, but of ancestry, mind, of wit, and wisdom. Couched in ambiguities, the role of the Valkyr, the handmaidens of Odin, is reevaluated, leading to a new conclusion for their association with battle, carnage, and the cult of death. So that is the topic of this second book here, the Wolf's Head by Shani Oates. And you can have a look here now at mine. This really nice cloth cover. This beautiful blue tint with this sort of rune here on the front. I will learn more about exactly what it is. I'm not. Again, this inner cover here. I know there's a word for it that I'm forgetting. Sorry. Really nice feel to it. Just really, really nice stuff there. Number 482 of 700. Volume 2 of the Odin Trilogy, in 2 parts, The Skin Turners and Shapeshifters, and Tethers of Law and Death. And the illustrations, again, were done by Blood and Fire Ritual Art, which is Chris Undirheimar of our one of our favorite Ritual Ambient projects. I know a lot of people that listen to me like his music a lot. It's been selling out like really, really quickly. Zazen's CD of his sold out like right away, and also Cyclic Law's CD of his sold out right away. So I know people are really loving his work. So yeah, he's got some beautiful artwork in here. It's really cool to find out that it was his. I already really liked what I was seeing as the illustrations in here. Illustration based on one of the 4 Torslunda helm plates, cast bronze dies found in Torslunda, a parish on the Swedish island Åland, created the 6th century through the 8th century, discovered in 1870. Pretty cool. Yeah, so I haven't read this yet, so I don't have much to say about it. I can just sort of show you guys some of the imagery in here. Just lovely, lovely work here. Just randomly flip to a page and just beautiful illustrations. Awesome, awesome work, Chris, if you're watching this. Now we're in the future. I don't think he's in here right now, but he might end up checking it out sometime soon. I think he's been in a previous stream. I could be wrong. I think I've talked to him. I'm hoping I can get him on here to talk to me. Yeah. Yeah, excellent work. Just really beautiful stuff. Damn, look at that one. Badass. It just jumps out of the page. It's really beautiful stuff. And yeah, we got another pretty thick bibliography here that can give people a lot of extra reading, that they can see where Shani Oates got all of her information from. Not all of it, but you know, what she references throughout the book. I always love following through on bibliographies and sort of diving deeper myself. As a lover of books, it's always nice to have this list of more books to hop into. About the author. Shani Oates is an occultist, mystic, Luciferian pilgrim of the forbidden arts, traditional craft practitioner, researcher, lecturer, historian, and writer of the craft, particularly within the Robert Cochrane tradition. She is a spaewife and matriarch of the people of Goda, the clan of Tubal Cain, based in the UK. Shani is the author of several books including The Devil's Supper, Tubello's Green Fire, The Arcane Veil, Star-Crossed Serpent, Volumes 1 through 4. Her work explores the myths, folklore, gods, and archetypes that imbue and inform the cults and crafts of witchcraft and folk traditions, shifting through the arcane to modern times. So yeah, she's already through Anathema Publishing, has The Hanged God, which was the first edition, the first volume, and then we have here our second volume in Wolf's Head. And then she's also done The Devil's Supper, which I do not have. And then she's done Crafting the Art of Tradition, which is originally printed in a hardcover in 2016 and then in 2018 in paperback. So there you go, Wolf's Head. Which leads me to my second book that I have of hers here, Crafting the Art of Tradition, in the paperback version. This is this is the thickest volume so far that I have of an Anathema book. Usually they run usually around 200 pages, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. This one comes in at almost 400 pages, so this is a pretty thick book here. I've listened to a podcast about this, so I know a little bit about it. Basically, as I mentioned at the end of as I was reading her about section there, she's the matriarch of the Tubal-Cain clan out of the UK. So from what I gather, this she sort of shows like how they came up with their school, their clan. They're not coven, but she sort of lays out the things to take into consideration, as I have understood here, when you are building your own group, whatever form that group might take. For her, they call it a clan. It's more of a family. She speaks in the podcast that I listen to about how in traditional witchcraft they have covens, which sort of come together to do their work, but then go their separate ways. Whereas her clan sort of lives together and does all of their everything is seamlessly brought together as part of their it all has to do with the gods with them. There's no separation between worship and mundane work. It is all done in relation to the gods, and it is all done together as a group. So they don't ever go home and go their separate ways. When you become part of her group, you stay with her group. It becomes your family. So to whatever extent, that is what she lays out here in this book. And again, we've got just lovely artwork throughout. This is a very different style, but equally beautiful. This one goes much more into the craft and not so much focused on Scandinavian Nordic art forms. Look at that. That's beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful artwork here. So I won't flip through all of that, but yeah, again, I can't say too much about this book yet because I haven't read it, but I'm really looking forward to getting into it. But I can go ahead and I will read through the description that they have here on the webpage. So, the work is saturated with true magic. It is profound, practical, and progressive. It is also Gnostic and Promethean. That is to say, it teaches the individual to hone their faculties of memory and of mindfulness. One second here. I'll pull this over here on my other screen. That is to say, it teaches the individual to hone their faculties of memory and of mindfulness. That is, of forethought and hindsight, to know when to pit wit and will against fate, and when not to. How to divine the signs and omens to understand the ways of the gods, and how to speak to the dead, so that we can be advised by our ancestors. These tools are not witchcraft, but they do manufacture a shared process whereby wisdom guides experience. And through carnate and discarnate guides, we are encouraged to learn how to overcome fate. We see the web of weird for what it is, and the means to become part of it. In this way, we also join the shadow company to guide and accompany the next generation of pilgrims to our hearth, says Shani Oates. So, yeah, that was all a quote of hers. Now, so the description here. Traditional craft thrives as an underground stream. Its rejection of dogma generates a mystical path of hermitage and evolution. Its source honors the pagan spirit, presenting to every seeker a devotional path that is the magic of the soul. It speaks of spiritual alchemy, masterfully born in the crafting of matter. Crafting the art of tradition explores that which was based in the medieval guilds, the rural traditions claimed by craft heritage. However, the way in which those guild secrets were disclosed called for certain initiatory rites of passage that stemmed from a shared hereditary root, one based in culture, which developed tangible craft traditions pertinent to each. Later, when those guilds disintegrated, the rule simply reverted to kin and was preserved within those same hereditary guild families, now engaged in finding apprentices for slightly different training. Apprenticeships required sponsorship, and only a family member could undertake that role. Toadmen, horsemen, cunning folk, et al. Are described within Crafting the Art of Tradition, not as an intellectual study, but as a lived tradition. Yeah, so as I said, this book seems like it's going to sort of speak about her tradition, maybe. I guess it's more about crafting the tradition that she works within than crafting any random tradition necessarily of your own. Either way, sounds pretty cool. Sounds like it's going to be a really interesting read. And now our final book of the day. Again, thank you guys so much for sticking with me today. I'm going through a lot of this stream is for the book lovers. I was really looking forward to sharing these books with you guys, so I'm glad I'm glad a couple of you are hanging out here with me. I know there's not a lot of people here today, but I also know that I picked a time and a day of the week that wasn't going to have a ton of people, which is why I'm going to go ahead and upload this to YouTube immediately so people can watch it in their own time. I wasn't necessarily needing a lot of interaction here, but it is nice to have you guys interaction all the same. Yeah, so before I even start talking about this, wow, I just popped open the front cover and that's a pretty badass illustration there. So this here we have is the Dancing Sorcerer. This is the standard edition. Their collector's edition sold out before I was aware of them as a company, really. So I don't know exactly what it looked like. But as Foolish Fish had pointed out in his review, we have the cloth with this beautiful emblem here. And then we also have what is like sort of, I don't know what this is necessarily on this side, but it's a lot stronger. And it's nice. It goes all the way around. So sort of when you have the book laid out, that's the part that's getting drug around on the table, and that's the part that's going to be the most in your hands when you're like, when you're like, sweating on it and getting your hand grease on it. So that's all like on this like more robust section of cover here. So I think that's really cool that they did it that way. It's almost like a sort of like a built-in dust jacket. And also that's the part of the book that's going to be most likely to get dust on it from the outside world when it's laying beside other books on a shelf. So yeah, yeah, and I also just noticed here, the back cover has the same image, but then when you flip in from the back cover, there's another really cool one here on this inside. Really nice stuff here. So this is The Dancing Sorcerer, Essays on the Mind of the Magician by P.T. Misselberger. I also started listening to a little bit of a podcast of his. That's the great thing about these guys. Everybody loves Anathema Publishing, and if you are so inclined, you can find numerous podcasts uh, where these guys talk in detail about almost all of their books. You've got Foolish Fish that does his reviews of them, and then you have Glitch Bottle that has spoken with basically at least half of the people that I've talked about here today. Um, and then there's Thoth Hermes podcast. Um, there's another one that I'm blanking on right now. Anyways, yeah. If you can go to YouTube and just like type in like PT Misselberger podcast or interview or something, and you'll find like a couple of them that he did. You'll find a couple of them that Shani Oates did. You'll find a bunch of them that Craig Williams did. Craig Williams talked to a bunch of people already, and he's pretty sure he's going to be talking to me here in the near future once I finish his third book. Um, beautiful, beautiful artwork here. We have a Bengali hymn to Kali. I will read this one. I'm interested in Kali very much. Because you loved the burning ground, I have made a burning ground of my heart, so that you, Dark One, haunter of the burning ground, may dance your eternal dance. I love that. And Psychomachia. You are the way of death. You are the gate to ruin. And Prospero. Mark but the badges of these men, my lords. Then say if they be true, this misshapen knave. His mother was a witch. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness, I acknowledge mine. I love that. Yeah, so as I said, I listened to about three-quarters of one of his podcasts so far, so I have an idea. Like these are all separate essays, that all tap into sort of different contexts of the magician, the mind of the magician. So we have the dancing sorcerer and the fall of humanity, Solomonic versus Faustian magic, Pharaoh's Curse, Imagination and Deception. We have Dragon Magic. This one talks about John D. Kelly and Faust, Vampires and the Magician. The Goetia, the Golden Dawn, Demon Belial. Cool stuff. The appendix goes into Jung, alchemy, and a common misunderstanding. We have a general survey of the Goetic spirits, which is pretty cool. I remember that from checking out Foolish Fish's review, which was really nice of this. So I'll go over here to that real quick and show you guys the general survey of the 72 Goetic spirits. Yeah, they got all these bunch of different just and really interesting stuff here in this appendix. They're all sort of laid out by category. We have the dangerous, black magic, and deceptive. So like Malthus has the ability to destroy the buildings of one's enemies, engages in willful deception of the magician via falsely claiming sacrifices are required. Pretty cool. No, I haven't read this one yet. I've only read of all of these ones that I've shown you guys, I've only read so far Entering the Desert in its entirety, and I'm almost finished Cult of Golgotha. I am, as I read, like, this stream here is just sort of like I've already opened the boxes, but this is the equivalent of an unboxing stream. Like, this is my introduction to you guys of Anathema Publishing. And as I read through each of these books, I'm going to be going into much greater detail about them when that time comes. So I'm going to talk specifically about the book. I'll show more illustrations and I'll be able to explain illustrations better. And I'll explain like different music that I was listening to while I was reading it and why that music goes well with it and stuff like that. And then I also hope to, as I finish up these books, I also would like to have interviews with each of the different authors potentially, or at least as many of them as I can. So I'll probably do it in a way like I'm doing it now, where midweek I'll do like a review of the book, and then at the end of the week maybe I'll have an interview with the author of the book, you know. That's sort of the concept that I'm thinking right now, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and read the description of this one as well. Okay, and you said, Scrage says, and based on what you heard from the podcast, would you recommend this book to someone who's not well read on occult topics yet? This one, absolutely. This is definitely a very nice, just sort of for any person book. From what I can tell, this is just a fun book to read. This isn't like a grimoire. This isn't something that you have to be part of a tradition to understand. I would say for the most part, really, from what I can tell, the Cult of Golgotha is probably the one of all of the ones that I've shown today. It's the one that really needs prerequisite knowledge. Like, I think a lot of these other books are self-explanatory. You can just hop into the book without any prior knowledge of the topic, as far as I can tell from these. Cult of Golgotha is just a very, very thick, intense read that is it's its own beast. There are definitely some other Anathema books that are of that similar weightiness, but they aren't ones that I've talked about today. Yeah, yeah. Foolish Fish's review also grabbed my attention. That's why I keep name dropping him, because he is a really wonderful resource for book reviews as well as for just occult knowledge in general. His esoteric weekend videos are just chef's kiss, just exquisite. Just I love. I just, after I found his channel 6 months ago or so, I was sort of just watching his reviews, but then about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I just binge watched his esoteric weekend videos, and I've learned so much from those videos. That guy is really smart. He's really knowledgeable on these topics, and he does a fantastic job of explaining it to people. Okay, so I will read the description now for this book, since I can't describe it too well myself. The dancing sorcerer has been a term used for the past half-century to describe the iconic figure of a 15,000-year-old work of cave art found in present-day southern France. This image of a man dressed up in animal skins who appears to be performing a ritual dance has been offered up by anthropologists as an example of how the real oldest profession has always been that of the shaman, magician, or sorcerer. The present book offers a series of essays commenting on the purpose and function of the magician archetype, using a focal point what the author broadly defines as the Solomonic and Faustian approaches. The essays herein are concerned mainly with psychological themes, based principally on what Jung termed the mysterious conjunction, the idea that no movement into higher realities is possible without first unifying our lower nature. For this, it is necessary to investigate and even embrace the dark side, which can include such powerful archetypes and themes as dragons, vampires, goetic demons, pharaonic curses, Enochian spirits, and occult literary frauds, all with the ultimate purpose of redeeming both the personal and collective psyche. All right. With that said, that's my final book coverage. So, at this point, I just had a couple other releases that I wanted to show you guys. this is specifically Dark Ambient stuff now. I probably should have put that at the beginning, but that's okay. You guys at the end get to check it out. So, I got a package from Cyclic Law and another one directly from Parabostrum that will cover the entirety of what I have here, yeah. So, well, first let's go with the Cyclic Law stuff. And actually, I forgot to grab, I'm going to show you some t-shirts, so give me a second. So we've got the one that I'm wearing right now. Camera height, the cover art for Asleep and Well Hidden. And then we have the Desideri Marginis logo on this one, black t-shirt. And then this one is just the Cyclic Law logo, black t-shirt. Same size as this one. So these are really nice, good for summer. They're sort of thin, nice, soft, not thin like cheap thin, but thin like, you know, it's a good quality. It's a material that I like to have t-shirts in. I like the really heavy ones, and I like this type of thin one, and not much in between. So there's a whole mountain of Cyclic Law shirts on their page. They've got some really great stuff over there. Here we go. If you go to cycliclaw.com, this is all under apparel. For like all of these, they've got t-shirt, long t-shirt, sweatshirt, and hoodie, and then a tote bag. So we've got the Taphophobia one, All My Faith Lost, Becca Heston, and then for Camera Height, we've got his latest album, Thronal, his third album, The Nest, his second album, Star Wheel, and his first album, Asleep and Well Hidden, which all have a variant of each. We've got the Vortex artist logo, the Desideri Marginis logo, Clavicula, Oyerum, the Sutek Hexen. Let me pull that one up. Really cool stuff here. Ashtoreth, Osala Sacral, Nordvarger, the Cyclic Law logo, and then we have these really cool Cyclic Law and Svartsen slip mats for your vinyl, for your record player. You put this thing, you like take out the slip mat that's inside of your record player and put this one in there. And then you lay your records inside on top of this. Really cool looking. I'll hopefully have one of these here soon that I'll show you guys, but I don't have one yet. Yeah, so that's the t-shirts. Really cool shirts. I haven't got a chance to wear too many of these yet. This is the first one that I put on. I just washed them yesterday. Just got them like 3 days ago. And then now the stuff that I got directly from Pierre. We have the I&II cassette. Oh my god, this lighting is terrible. Let me mess with this again. It keeps changing on me. Okay, that's better like that. We'll just leave it kind of dark. Hell yeah. The Clavicula motive is badass. I have it in my shelf. Nice. Yeah, so we've got the I&II Winter Scriptures cassette here. Really lovely. I love getting Hypnagoga Press's work in cassettes. I really love the cassettes. And I love that Simon Heath mastered this. The music and art by Parabostrum, who is the man behind I&II, part of Camera Height and City's Last Broadcast, and many other projects we know of his now that are on all on his Hypnagoga press. This really beautiful artwork here, just dream snow landscapes with gateways, maybe. And a high quality cassette with the lettering printed directly onto the cassette. Very nice stuff. And beautiful, beautiful artwork. We have the first edition of the Star Wheel, which I'm really excited to have. Really badass. This first edition actually comes with a poster. This is long, long gone. But I'll show you guys anyway. Got the poster inside of that. Really fucking cool. I'm sure you can find one on Discogs, but they're not available from any record labels anymore. Long sold out. And then we have one of his latest releases on Cryo Chamber that he did along with Bruce Molam of God Body Disconnect. I really love this album. This has been my sleep music for the last 3 or 4 nights since I got the album. It's a double disc. This is a little too dark. Let me find a happy medium here, can I? That's not too bad. VHS audio treatment by Bruce Molam. So if some of you guys know, a lot of his work he runs through various old tape decks, and for like cassette, like reel-to-reel cassette tape decks. But for this release, they used a VHS deck that they put the music onto VHS and then played it through VHS to pick up the 80s VHS quality sounds for this album. And then of course they got the amazing mastering of Simon Heath along with his album art to really just make this album pop out. Really badass album. I love this album so much. So it's separated into 2 dreams. Dream 1 is on the black disc, and Dream 2 is in my CD player, but it's on the white disc. And the last track, Only the End, has Pierre singing on it, and I really love his singing. I hope he does more of that. And then it has a nice thick booklet with it, and all of the booklet art was done by Pierre. It's got this like cool, like dreamy 80s feel to it. I really think that's pretty cool. Beautiful stuff here. And it's Pierre and Bruce. Highly recommended. This one's a sleeper. It's it hasn't got the recognition it deserves. It's not that active of an album, but it's really beautiful sounds. Oh yeah, and I'll show the back there. Some more lovely dreamscapes, frozen dreamscapes, glitched out frozen dreamscapes. And then while we're still on Cryo Chamber, I have the vinyl edition of City's Last Broadcast, the Umbra Report here. I won't pull it out because it's just a black vinyl, but it's a very nice release. I really love this cover art. It's kind of hard to get my camera to show. Let's see, hopefully I don't kill it. There we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay. Yeah, I really love this cover art. So beautiful. And then for the back here. Again, we've got written, produced, and performed by Pierre Bostrom, and artwork and mastering by Simon Heath. Um, really glad that Cryo Chamber started making vinyls. Really lovely release here. This album actually goes really nicely with my Cult of Golgotha reading, the Umbra Report. It's it seems very fitting to go with the Cult of Golgotha reading, even though it's unfortunately not one of the ones that's available through Anathema Publishing. But this is a great. I really Par's work goes very nicely with all of my Anathema reading, and I think it's going to continue to do so. And then we have his latest Kammerheit album, Thronal. This is the vinyl edition that was released on Cyclic Law. Um, wonderful release, worth the wait. Last release before that was The Nest in 2015, and then we finally got Thronal. I think this was at the end of 2020. I don't think it was in 2021. I think it was in 2020. But I will pull this one out because wait till you see this beautiful special edition. Oh my god, when I took this thing out of the case, I saw like just the corner here. I was like, "Ooh, that's nice. That's going to be nice." And then I pulled it out. Oh my god. Is that not lovely? Oh my god. I love it so much. This is so fucking beautiful. Really beautiful. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Like somebody just handed me my favorite candy bar, which is Per Bostrom's music, the very best candy bar in the world. All right, and the last but very not least thing that I'm talking about here today, Kammerheit's Triune, the vinyl box set of all of his first three albums. Oh my god. I can't take the smile off of my face. You see, I'm literally, this is like Christmas for me. I wanted this thing so bad. I wanted this so bad. Okay, so we've got the cover art of each of the first three albums here as these like 2-page posters. So this one's kind of hard to show on here, but it goes portrait, and then the other two are landscapes, which are easier for me to show you. So of course we have the cover art of the Star Wheel, and the cover art of the Nest. And then again, we have those three cover arts here. Oh, like all stars, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. And then again, we have the three cover arts here for the inner slipcases, but I do not have those inside of them currently. I just have them in the standard black sleeves here. And I will only pull one of these out because they are all similar, but really beautiful. Check out that vinyl. Just this really crazy, like, it's like a bluish tinted clear vinyl with this opaque black just smear inside of it. Really crazy. Crazy. It's like, it just feels like something out of the Red Room or whatever in Twin Peaks or something. It feels like something to do with that accursed fucking tree in the Red Room from The Return. I don't know why, but it's like the shit, like, I don't know. It's like some fucking demonic shit or something. I really love it. And the other two are similar to this, so I won't pull them all out. But I'm so excited to have all of his albums now on vinyl, all four. They're the first three in this Triune package, and then his newest one, Thronal, separately over there that I showed you before this. I'm so happy to have all of these on vinyl. Kammerheit was one of the first Dark Ambient projects that I fell in love with, and I've been blessed enough to become good friends with Pierre since then, regardless of whether I liked his music or not. He's a really, really awesome dude. We, just have a lot in common, regardless of my love of his music. I am a fanboy, but I try not to fanboy when we chat, but but yeah, I'm super, super excited to have these. So they have been playing like crazy in my record player for the last couple of days. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for today. One more thing I'll show you guys here. Hopefully this is the... Yes, it is. Cool. I'll go ahead and show you guys this, since I have it sitting here. This was something that somebody randomly sent me the other day in the mail. I had never spoke to the person before, I don't think. I think they just found my address, like, on the website or something. I don't think I've spoken to them previously. But, this cassette is... my color blindness, I actually can read it better on the screen than I can in real life here, but it's really cool, like red on black, but unfortunately I'm bad with reds. So but luckily he sent me a promo sheet for it. So the artist is Terralianus as the Red Giant Passes. And this is released on, this is Avalanche Records. Avalanche presents its first release, also its first physical release on audio cassette by Terralianus Project. They have been active in the underground scene for 13 years and made a lot of music and performed live gigs as well. The main and only figure in this project, Solius B, is very well known from other projects in metal and industrial scenes. And they don't tell you what metal projects, which is kind of interesting. I guess you just have to know who this Solius B is. I don't know. Terralianus music is dedicated to the vast cosmos, to its transformations, to the birth and death of a star. A 39 minutes long journey with As the Red Giant Passes completely wipes out a sense of time. This music is an outstanding background for those hot, sticky summer nights when insomnia and heavy thoughts find a way into your head. The whole album is one drone ambient piece, and Avalanche unhesitatingly states that it's the most interesting project in Lithuania of this cosmic genre music. The album is released on a black audio cassette wrapped in a cardboard cover, hand-numbered with a business card inside. Material repeats on both sides. Limited edition of 50 copies. Contact them at I'll show it to you here. info@avalancheorg.net. Yeah, see, you can see it here. That's why I figured I'd just go ahead and show you guys. So the artist is Terralianus. The album title is As the Red Giant Passes. And it is released on Avalanche. Really cool. I have only listened to it once so far, but I really did enjoy it quite a bit in that first listen. Okay, here's the cassette. And here's the business card. I have number 16 of 50. The Avalanche logo on this side. And then here's the back side. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's not incredibly active. It's a very chill, like it says. It is a very nice late summer release. And I like that it's the same thing on both sides. Of course, I guess it would be nicer for it to be like twice as much music. I mean, I guess that would also always be nicer. But since it is a 40-minute release, I like that they fit that whole 40 minutes on one side, and then regardless of what side you ended on, you always hear the full album whenever you started from the beginning, regardless of whether it's on side A or B. There's been a couple cassettes that I've got over the years that did that, and I do like when they do that. If you can, there's no reason not to. Like, I would rather them have the same 40 minutes on both sides than to split it up 20 and 20 and then have a bunch of dead space. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to have like the full side be taken up by an entire album and you can hear it beginning to end. That's very conducive to falling asleep to it or reading to it, where, you know, especially if you're falling asleep to it, it's nice for it to just play all the way out and then just stop. So, yeah, cool stuff. Um, yeah, so I think that's it for today, guys. I've been rambling on here for about an hour and 25 minutes. So, the track's title is 15, I Love the Simplicity. Cool. Thanks for the recommendations. You are very welcome. Thanks for sticking around, man. You just followed the page 4 hours ago, and you've been hanging out with me for damn near 3 hours since then. So, thank you very much for sticking around through the whole thing, dude, and for speaking with me throughout it. I appreciated your communication during the stream. Like All Stars says, very cool. Enjoyed the show, mate. Join Twitch today to follow you after seeing the post on Facebook. We'll be back. Much appreciated. Oh, Skeldas is here. Uh, what's up, Vitenis? Very glad to see you present. Oh, so Skeldas, you can just ignore, you can just not answer me if you don't want me to put you on the spot. But this album that I just shared says that it's from Lithuania. So, and I know that you are from Lithuania. So I wonder if you are familiar with this label or this project or this artist. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this album that I just shared before by chance? The Scrage says Cyclic Law shared your that you'll have this stream earlier on Facebook. I'm glad I discovered your channel. It was nice meeting you. It was very nice meeting you too. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'll give Skeldas a second here if he wants to respond to me. If he doesn't, he can just pretend like he didn't hear me. um, yeah, so I really, like I said, I haven't read a lot of those Anathema publishing books yet, but goddamn are they beautiful. And I can really tell from the reputation that the label has within the Dark Ambient community that it's really going to be worth reading all of these books. Like, I have no doubt that it's going to be worth reading. Uh, Mater Lacrimarum says, thanks for today's show a lot and great recommendations. And Skeldas, cool, you guys know each other pretty well. Yeah, well, so if you can let them know that I mentioned their album here at the end of the stream, then if you want to, and let them know that I really enjoyed the album, and I really thank them for sending it to me, because I don't think, unless I'm unaware, unless I forgot, I don't think I've talked to this person, so whoever they are, yeah, I appreciate them sending it to me, and it was a good recommendation. It fell well on my ears. In one of the hot ending days of the summer, it was a perfect time to hear it. His other Dark Ambient project is Velimara. Good stuff too. Hell yeah, I'll have to check that out. And you guys take note of that as well. What Skeldas said there, Velimara is the other project by this artist. So if you do end up liking this album, then I would also recommend checking that one out too. And I will check that. I'll go ahead and pull that up now because I'll end up forgetting as soon as I shut down the stream here. Cool. Oh, I like the cover art for that. Oh, that looks like it's something like Cold. Like that looks like their the doomed route is the one that came up for me. That looks like that. Oh, and that's on Altarkea. That's cool. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for sharing, Skeldas. All right. If anybody else has anything else to add to the conversation, speak now or hold your peace for at least 5 more days. Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream and a little bit throughout, but for anybody that wasn't here at the beginning, I am going to be speaking with Gabriel McCaughry at on this coming Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern U.S. time. That will be 2200 Central European time, CET. I think that's what that stands for. And he is the sole owner and operator of Anathema Publishing, the publishing company that I've been sharing all these books with you guys from today. So he's going to come on and speak in his position as head of that publishing company. So we will be mostly talking about books, his love of books, his reason for making these in such a high quality, his way of choosing different authors, his decision to include Dark Ambient releases in his website, just various different things relating to his books and the connection to Dark Ambient. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. It's been one of the conversations that I've been the most excited about for at least a month now, and we just finally booked it the other day. And we just decided to go ahead and do it really soon because I had this Saturday open. So we just said, fuck it, let's just go ahead and do it. So I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with him, and I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun listening to it. So I hope everybody that watches this podcast now and throughout the rest of this week will try to set that time aside on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to come here to the Twitch channel and watch our interview and ask him questions yourselves and just generally throw support and praise at him because he's doing awesome shit over there at his company. So I really am excited to be reading his books, to be holding his books, and to be able to have a conversation with him about his books and his authors and all of those things related to his publishing company and to the Dark Ambient connections to it, which is one of the coolest things that's going on with him because it's just great shit. And the fact that it's so integrally connected to Dark Ambient, I love that he's making that connection because Dark Ambient music goes perfectly with the cult books, and people need to realize that. So he's doing his share in making people realize that, and props to him for doing that. Yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and call it a night here. Peace, guys. Thanks again for stopping by, and I will see you in a few days. I hope you all stay safe and happy. Bye.